Hello, Mr. Mohammed. Uh,
Hello, hello, Atha. Yeah.
my name is Muhammad Atta. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Atta, and I'm a student of in a university in Sultan Agung in Indonesia, Mr. Mohammed. And then I'm gonna doing some interview with you, which is like some informal interview so we can like doing some easy conversation something like that. And then so the topic is I already prepare about three topics that we gonna discuss. And then before we start about the topic, can you tell about yourself, like what is your name, Mr. Mohammed, your full name, or and then where are you from, Mr. Mohammed? Go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Mohammed Suleiman Wilkinson. Um, yeah, whenever I get asked where I'm from, it's always a bit of a complicated question because I have a mixed background.
Okay.
But basically, to answer the question, my father's from Britain, my mother was from Egypt. I
Mhm.
was born in Sudan, but I grew up in Saudi Arabia. And then when I was 15 years old, we moved to the UK. I mean, I usually answer this question by saying that I'm from Britain. Yeah, I'm from England. Anyways, I lived in the UK for 14 years. I went to school. I went to university. I studied biochemistry. I did a few different jobs like sales and programming and things like that. And then I left the UK in 2021. I
2020.
went traveling.
Okay.
Yeah, 2021. I went traveling. I went to different countries, but I finally ended up in the Philippines, right? Because
Philippines.
I wanted to have a family here, and that's about
Okay.
me. So I teach on italki. This is my full-time job,
Okay.
and I teach people English, and then I have English conversations with people, and I live in the Philippines, and that's what I do. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm.
Okay. So you are a teacher in the Philippines or what?
No, no, no. I just teach online.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Mm,
online.
yeah.
I see.
Hmm.
Okay. So, talking about the British, so let's get started into our topic today. Is there is a three topic that I already prepared. Is number one is about society in the British. Number two is education, and then the last one is social media and recent issues. There
Yeah.
is three question in one topic, okay? And then so there is
Okay.
nine question because there is three topics. Okay, let's get started,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah. No
Ahmed.
worries. Yeah.
Number
Hmm.
one, about society. So, how do people in your area usually spend their weekend?
Ah, okay. That's an interesting question. So, um, yeah, that's a slightly hard question for me to answer because when I lived in the UK, I was very introverted and I usually stayed home. Although there were definitely times when I went out in the weekends. Uh, from what I understood, depending on the age of the person, they are either at home, right? They go to work and then they spend Saturday, Sunday just staying at home. If the weather was really good, they would probably go to the like shopping center in the middle of the city, shopping malls, or they would go to the fields, the parks, and the beaches, and they would, if it was sunny. Every time it was sunny, the people would go out, right? Especially if it was the weekend. Um, but it also seemed that quite a few people spend time in the pubs and the drinking bars, right? So it they were either in the pubs or at home. It seemed, because in England the shops, a lot of the shops close by 8 p.m. You know, so and then most of the restaurants close by 10 p.m. And so nothing is open really. Very few things are open past 8 p.m. And so it seemed that all the shops were closed, most of the restaurants were closed, and then you got people in the pubs or at home. Yeah, especially at night. And on
Oh,
the weekends they might go shopping, but yeah, yeah.
But
So
the mar
mm,
so the market is closed like early, like 8 p.m. is already
yeah,
closed, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I know
but
that's unusual in Southeast Asia where everything's open all night or something,
yes,
but
in the
yes. Hmm.
in here in the midnight is still open, right?
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So, in the British, many people in the weekend is usually like going shopping and usually doing something like that. But for especially for Mr. Mohammed, you just only at home at all.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I would also. I had a best friend. I have a best friend, and I would when we were in school and in university, we would meet every week. We would often go to like Costa Coffee. It's a coffee shop called Costa Coffee, and we would often go there, and we would catch up and chat and things like that. So I would do that with him. But if I didn't do that with him, I think I would be at home, you know? So
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
that the same
Mm.
with me. So,
Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, okay, I see, I see. Okay, let's move to the next question, Mr. Mohammed. And then
Hmm.
the second question is do you think a British society is more individualistic or community oriented?
Absolutely individualistic, right? This is the
Mhm.
big difference between, I would say, most of Western society, compared to sort of Southeast Asian countries, right? Where there's more collectivistic kind of communities, but yes, absolutely individualistic people. You know, very often, if they can, they would like to leave home at 18.
Mhm.
If they can. I know my best friend, he tried living, he moved out of he was living with his mother, and he moved out to the student dormitory when he went to university. He lived there for 1 year. He didn't like it. Then he moved back to live with his mother.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
I, I, yeah, I stayed with my father, but anyways, so yeah, so people are more individualistic. They just sort of they live their lives. You don't really see people, for example, take care of their parents or something like that. If their
Okay.
parents become too old, usually they will either get a caregiver or they might send their parents to the old folks home, or things like that. So, everyone is kind of focused on their own lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 that's how it was. That's how it is actually.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I see.
Mm,
Okay, okay. That's in the British is more individualistic, okay, Mr.
yeah.
Okay. So the third question or the last question on the topic of society is what do you notice about the behavior of young people compared to the old generation?
Mm, okay. This is interesting. So, what perspective to answer this question from? Because I, in fact, I have some training as a maths teacher. So I actually spent time in British schools, right,
Okay.
teaching, 12 to 14-year olds,
Yeah.
and I have a general negative impression of them.
Oh,
I
but
feel like there's a feeling like they don't care about their own future. They just want to do what's in front of them, you know? Like I can remember, people failing like maths and English and things like that, or not caring about their studies, not caring about university, not caring about having a good life. I saw that in the children, right? And obviously this doesn't apply to everyone, but I did see this a lot. And as for the older people, definitely were more hardworking. They just dealt with whatever they needed to deal with. Yeah. It seems that nowadays the younger people, the children, or even people my age or younger, they're very sensitive. They're very sensitive uh, about everything. They get insulted very easily, or you can easily hurt their feelings. They're very sensitive about the words that you say and things like that, and how you say things, and so on. I think older people are not as sensitive. They're more straightforward, and so on. Um, I don't know. Like I feel that, and this is one of the reasons I have a negative view, is that it felt like the older people, they had a a simple understanding, but straightforward. The younger people seem to be very ignorant about life, about their country, about the way the world works.
Okay.
It really felt like that, you know. And
Yeah.
hmm, yeah, yeah, basic stuff. Yeah, I mean, those are just some thoughts, right? I mean, it's not exactly. Yeah, I know it's not a perfect structure, but those are just some thoughts and some of my observations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm,
I
mm,
think I
mm.
think I feel that also because before uh before I found you, Mr. Mohammed, I have to look any British people to like, do you want to be in part of my interview? Like I am asking to like old people like in the a lot of application, and then I ask them, but their age is like older than me, and then I think they are like disrespect me uh like they don't want to be part of my final exam, but I know that like that's okay, but I already tell about what am I going to do. Like I'm gonna do a final exam. Can you please help me like around 10 until 15 minutes, and then you just can go. But if you can help me, it's such a honor to I'm very, very say to thank you to them because they can be join or be attend to my final part, and then like no one want to what's that want to help me like, so or is
Why
that.
do you think so? Why do you think they didn't want to help? Yeah. Mm. What do you, they didn't trust you or something, do you think? Or what?
Yeah, maybe I
Mm.
just give a minimum of background. Like I just say like hey, my name is Atha, and then I'm a student of a university blah blah blah. And then like when I say like that, sometimes people those people reply my chat like how can I help you, like something like that. But maybe then they don't believe because my background is like so minimum. Maybe they got scared. I would
I've
like.
had. Yeah, the fact is, I've had this kind of experience before. You're not the first Indonesian student who's
Mhm.
asked to interview me, right? So this is the I've had this experience before. So for me, it's familiar, and that's why I understood that. Yeah, it's a reasonable request. I thought it was a reasonable request. I thought you gave a reasonable amount of information, and at the end of the day, you booked my time and we can have a conversation. Like there's no problem.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I don't understand. Like if you explain the situation and then you book their time, I don't understand why they wouldn't want to talk about written. So I'm not quite sure what the issue was, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, that's the experience me looking for British people. But mostly maybe they got their privacy or something like that. So I'm gonna respect that. Uh,
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe because that's the other point as well that I've noticed is because I've worked in Britain, I've for various companies, various schools. Something really interesting is, and I think it's different in Southeast Asia when you work, right? You make friends with your colleagues, right? Your colleagues, you get to know who they are, you get to know their families, you get
yeah.
to know. I remember my brother telling me
Yes.
you can work with someone for 10 years and not know anything about them. apparently, you
Yes.
know? And I
Yeah.
just thought, wow. And I've actually experienced this personally. I had like contacts with my colleagues, and then when I left the company or the company kicked me out, um, those colleagues wouldn't communicate with me, right?
Yeah. You're right.
Even though I messaged them and stuff like that. And I just thought, wow, like yeah, I put my heart on my sleeve, meaning like I'm open about what I am, and they didn't seem to connect, or they didn't want to connect, and yeah, so that's a little bit weird about British
Okay.
people, but anyways, it is what it is. Yeah, so they want to be private, and okay, fair enough.
Yeah. You're right.
So yeah, what's the next question? Yeah.
Okay, the next question is next topic about education. And then the first question is do students in UK experience a lot of pressure from exam?
No, 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 no,
No, best
no, no,
the student, right?
no. Yeah. So it's really light. I mean, I spent my first 9 years of schooling in Saudi Arabia, and then compared to Saudi Arabia, and I know Saudi Arabia is not like intense or anything, but England was like very very lightweight. It was very easy and light, and there was almost no pressure, to the point where like even at the like for example, it's a requirement to go to university to get a grade C in maths and English GCSE. But some people who were getting D's, it didn't seem that it mattered to them, or and they weren't. But compared to like Saudi Arabia, yeah, the that the people really cared about their academic performance and so on. But in England, people were just relaxed. And I
Okay.
felt it. I didn't really have to do homework. I did homework because I wanted to. I prepared for my exams as much as I wanted to, but it wasn't really any pressure or anything like that. So it was
Okay.
quite easy actually.
Oh,
I personally I felt it easy, and from what I observed, yeah, there isn't any pressure.
mm.
Yeah. Mm.
Maybe it's kind of different with my country because except in here is very, very make me is under the pressure because there is a
Yeah.
lot of like exam I have to do like when I was in elementary until now in the college. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's okay.
Mm.
I've maybe like yeah, that's okay. There is no problem. I already feel it from I child until now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, this is why I find it weird, like for example, China or Korea, where or Japan, where it's super intense, and everyone is just studying 12 hours a day. I
Yes.
even remember in the university, I went to the University of Liverpool, and there are lots of Chinese in English universities. Like in the University of Liverpool, maybe 30% of the students were Chinese. Anyways, they were always studying, always in the library, like 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, like always studying. And the British people, including myself, we just did our assignments. I studied a little bit, and that was it. Like
Oh my
and I still passed the exams. I still did what I needed to do. I still got my master's.
God.
So yeah, it's not a lot. Yeah, and people they can enjoy themselves and then do what they need to do for the school and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. So the next question is what was your experience like in school growing up in the UK?
Well, I only experienced the schools from grade 10. So
Yeah.
I only experienced the last 4 years of school, GCSEs and A levels, right? Um, and, compared to Saudi Arabia, it was nice because you see, for some reason in Saudi Arabia, I'm kind of giving a contrast here. In Saudi Arabia, I seem to be like average. I was getting B's and C's, right? But my father was a teacher, and he told me that a lot of teachers would do corrupt things with the marks. They would change the marks and things like that. So perhaps they were manipulating my marks and putting me down. But in England, there's none of that corruption. Everything is exactly as it should be. So I felt very confident that whatever mark I got in the exam was exactly what I got in the exam. So, and I excelled. I thrived in the English British education system. I was the top in my class in maths. I was the top in a lot of my classes, right? And I really excelled. And yeah, like I could really, because I didn't have any bullying as well,
Oh,
which I had in Saudi Arabia. So in England I could, because they're very strict about, at least my school was
okay.
very strict about bullying, and so they if I had an incident I could report it and they would deal with it. So it was as if I had been freed. I could just focus on my studies, and this is what I did. I just focused on my studies. I thrived and I succeeded in getting high marks and going to university and so on. So for me, it was a great time, to study and to really, I bloomed kind of thing. So I thought it was great. Yeah. But my experience as a maths teacher, well, I was a trainee, but anyways, um, and I spent a little bit, I spent a week in a primary school observing. I spent some time in secondary schools observing and teaching a little bit. And I could see that the British education system somehow limits people. So I was self-motivated, you
Okay.
know, and the I had the tools to help me. Like the British education system is really good. If you're self-motivated and you really want to study and so on, you can really do that. But I found that for people who are not self-motivated, the this education system just made them very robotic, and and so they just had to follow instructions, had to listen to authority, and they really lost their creativity and so on. I remember looking at the grade 6 in the primary school, very enthusiastic to learn. They just want to learn, then I remember seeing grade 7, just a year later, in another school, of course. And I don't know when is the lesson going to end? Oh, and you see this lack of enthusiasm. And I just thought, what happened from grade 6 to grade 7? You know, Obviously it's different people, different class, different schools, but it just made me think, something happened, that made these people not interested.
Oh,
So, and I did blame the education system itself. Anyways, it has its benefits. I mean, you know, I owe a lot of my academic success to it, right?
yeah.
But I was also self-motivated, and I think I was a bit of an exception compared to other people. So, anyways,
Okay. Thank
yeah.
you for the answer to that question, Mr. Mohammed. And then it's all 3 minutes remaining, right? Or not?
Maybe we can finish. How many questions do we have left? I think four questions, right?
Maybe I can jump like into the next topic, but I only give it to you like one question or two question. Is that okay?
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last topic is the social media and recent issues. So the question number one is, do you think social media has more positive or negative effect on the society?
Ah, okay. Definitely negative, right? The thing is, I'm not super connected to like things like Instagram or TikTok, right? Because I don't really use those, but I do watch YouTube, and so I get an understanding through YouTube. And from what I can see, is a lot of people, they go into that they only consume content that they are interested in. So they only get the opinions that they agree with.
Oh,
And they're not interested in other opinions. And a lot of people are like this, right? So if they are left, for example, left wing, they're only interested in the left wing. If they are woke and liberal, they're only interested in liberal ideas. If the, if they're conservative, they're only interested in conservative, and it seems that you see this in America, but you also see it in Britain. There is this divide amongst people, and more anger and stuff. Yeah, and so people are only interested in their own opinions, and yeah, it's had a really negative effect. And I think the social media is also what has um, allowed politicians and people of influence to influence the opinions of people. So I think, for example, Nigel Farage with the UK Independence Party, he was able to get a lot of people to his side, thinking, convince a lot of people that leaving the EU was a good idea. And I think he did that through the news, he did that through social media, I guess, right? Yeah, and even nowadays with Israel and Palestine and things like that,
Yeah,
uh, it's kind of interesting because like now we're also seeing a divide
yeah,
between the people, the common people, and the government. So the government is trying to create a certain story, certain narrative, and the people they can see what's happening
yes,
and they disagree with what's happening. So now to some degree social media is when I say social media I'm talking TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. They're providing a platform for an opposition to the traditional media, the news media. So from that perspective, it's a good thing. So it's a double-edged sword. There's a benefit to it. But overall, enough people with the right voices are able to speak out and tell the truth. And so if you can find the truth on social media. So I think overall it's a positive thing. I
yeah.
would say so. Mm,
Okay,
mm,
okay, Mr.
mm.
Mohammed, and then I have two questions left, but one of that question you already answered is the question is say like how important is social media in your daily life? And then you already say that you are not using like a TikTok and then Instagram, right?
Right. Yeah, but
Yeah,
but I do use YouTube. But I do
YouTube,
use
yes.
YouTube.
And then
Yeah.
but you already using YouTube and something like that. But there is one question maybe that is a good question is what are the most popular platform in the UK right now?
So in the UK, amongst the young people, definitely TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then I would say Instagram, probably. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Instagram's very important. Is Oh, no, 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 and then X, or what used to be called Twitter. That's also quite important.
Oh,
But is it for the young people? Yes, I think a lot of young people use Twitter. By young people, I mean in their 20s or 30s. Yeah.
yeah.
So I'd say Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I think these are the main ones
Yeah,
that people use in the UK. Okay.
many
Mm, mm.
people like using media social is from like a child, yeah, something like that. Yeah. There is no
So, mhm, mm.
there is no old generation using TikTok or the domination of the that application is from child until teenager or something like that.
Yeah. Mm. What was your
Okay,
question? Yeah. Uh,
okay,
mm.
that basic, Mr. Mohammed. It's all of the question is already answered by you, Mr. Mohammed.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
I would like to say thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed, for attending to my informal interview. So basically like a common conversation, or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, can I upload this into the YouTube because my lecturer want to see it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
Mr. Mohammed.
Mm. Yeah.
Because I've already searching a lot of British people, and then they are rejecting
I
me. Yeah.
there are already videos of me on YouTube, so it's not the first time.
Okay.
So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
So maybe
yeah,
you were popular or what?
yeah. I mean, I did make a few YouTube videos of myself as well, but I have like interviews with other people on YouTube as well. So yeah, so anyway, so it's okay. Go ahead, and yeah, it was a pleasure. I need to go now, but I'll see you next time, Atha. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad. Thank you so much for attending into this interview. Well, if I can see you in maybe in the UK, let's meet together or something like that.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm in the Philippines, so
Okay,
if you ever in the
Philippines, Philippines.
if I'm in the Philippines, yeah, you can come to the Philippines and meet me if you want.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we're near
All right.
like Indonesian.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
it's not far enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, salam. I will see you next time. Bye
Yeah.
bye. Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much, Mr. Muhammad.
Bye bye.